Welcome back to my YouTube channel. We explore the fascinating world of rare and valuable coins that can transform an ordinary penny into a multi-million-dollar treasure, and today we're diving deep into one of the most extraordinary and surprising stories in numismatic history, the 1983 Lincoln 1-cent coin that is believed to be worth as much as $9 million because of its extremely rare minting errors, unexpected composition anomalies, and mysterious origins that continue to baffle collectors, experts, and treasure hunters across the world. So stay tuned because this incredible coin story will change how you look at every penny in your pocket forever. The 1983 penny might look just like any other copper-colored cent you've seen thousands of times before, but beneath its simple appearance hides an incredible secret that has made it one of the most desirable coins in the modern era. To truly understand why a single 1983 1 cent can be valued at $9 million, we have to go back to a major change in U.S. coinage history that happened in 1982, when the U.S. Mint officially transitioned the penny's composition from 95% copper and 5% zinc to a cheaper and lighter core made of 97.5% zinc and a thin copper plating. This change was meant to save the government money as copper prices were rising, but during this transition, errors and mix-ups occurred at the mint, and some 1983 pennies were accidentally struck on leftover copper planchets from 1982 instead of the new zinc ones. This is where the story of the 1983 penny becomes legendary, because any 1983 or 1983 cent made from the older copper alloy is technically not supposed to exist, and that's exactly what makes it so valuable. Collectors and metal experts discovered that while most 1983 pennies weigh about 2.5 grams due to their zinc composition, a few extremely rare examples weigh around 3.1 grams, which indicates a solid copper planchet, and that difference in weight is the key that unlocks its multi-million-dollar potential. But that's just one layer of the mystery. Some 1983 Lincoln cents not only have the wrong composition but also exhibit multiple striking errors such as double dies, off-center strikes, broad strikes, die cracks, and even lamination flaws, each adding even more to their rarity and overall worth. Imagine holding a small brown coin in your hand, the kind you might toss into a jar or use for change, and realizing that it's not just worth a few cents but potentially worth $9 million because it was struck during a chaotic minting period when precision gave way to production speed, and human or mechanical errors led to the birth of these numismatic miracles. The Denver Mint, where the mint mark represents its origin, was particularly busy during 1983, producing hundreds of millions of pennies, and in that high-volume production environment, the odds of a few leftover copper blanks slipping into the presses were small but very real, resulting in these unintentional masterpieces. When collectors began examining 1983 pennies closely, they found subtle but critical variations that set some apart from the rest, not only in weight and metal composition but also in die alignment, rim thickness, lettering sharpness, and even the clarity of Lincoln's portrait and a 1-cent reverse design featuring the Lincoln Memorial. Some examples show evidence of doubling on the date and lettering like Liberty and In God We Trust, which are classic indicators of a double die error, making the coin even more desirable to collectors and investors alike. It's the combination of such errors that propels the 1983 penny into astronomical price territory, and when a genuine copper 1983 cent with verified double die features and clear striking anomalies surfaces, it instantly becomes a sensation in the numismatic community. The fascination with this coin also lies in its elusive nature. There are only a handful of known genuine examples verified through professional grading services like PCGS and NGC, and each one carries not only monetary value but a story of how such a rare minting event escaped detection for decades. The intrigue deepens when metallurgical tests confirm the unexpected copper content, leaving no doubt that these are real, unintended survivors of an era when the mint was still perfecting its new production system. The sheer rarity, combined with the mystery of its accidental creation, drives collectors into fierce bidding wars whenever one appears for sale or auction, often pushing prices into the millions. The $9 million valuation might sound unbelievable for something so small, but it's a reflection of how rarity, history, and demand intersect in the coin world, especially when a coin represents a unique piece of mint history that should never have existed in the first place. Many numismatists compare the 1983 D copper penny to legendary coins like the 1943 bronze cent or the 1955 double die penny, both of which have fetched massive prices due to their iconic error status. Yet the 1983 D stands apart because it belongs to a modern generation of coins where such errors were supposed to be impossible thanks to advanced technology and strict quality control, and that's what makes it so fascinating. Every collector dreams of finding one in their pocket change, a hidden fortune disguised as ordinary currency. The possibility that millions of 1983 D zinc pennies are still circulating adds to the excitement because among them could be that one rare copper piece or a dramatic striking error just waiting to be discovered. Even minor errors from that year, like off-center strikes, die cracks on Lincoln's face or the memorial columns, and weakly struck reverses, can be worth hundreds or thousands of dollars, but when you combine such physical imperfections with the rare copper planchet, you reach an entirely different level of value. Stories have emerged of ordinary people unknowingly owning these treasures for years, tucked away in coin jars or old collections, until one day they're weighed, tested, and identified as multi-million-dollar pieces. Experts use precise scales and devices called X-ray fluorescence analyzers to determine metal composition without damaging the coin, and if a 1983 D penny shows the 3.1 gram weight and 95% copper composition, it becomes an instant legend. The path to that $9 million value also involves grading. If the coin is in pristine mint state condition, with sharp details, brilliant luster, and no signs of wear, it can reach record-breaking prices. Mint state 67 or higher examples of any rare error are exceptionally valuable, but when combined with the unique copper composition, the sky is truly the limit. Beyond the physical attributes, the 1983 D penny story captures the imagination because it reminds us of how human imperfection can create beauty and fortune in unexpected places. Each flaw, each mistake, and each deviation from perfection becomes a source of fascination, as though fate intervened to craft a one-in-a-billion anomaly that now commands millions. The U.S. Mint's internal procedures were never meant to allow such mistakes, but the chaotic transition period of the early 1980s was ripe for mishaps, leftover materials, retooled machinery, and old dies being reused unintentionally. Some collectors speculate that a few copper planchets might have been mixed with the zinc batch or stuck in the hoppers overnight, only to be struck the next morning and shipped out unnoticed. The fact that only a few examples have surfaced means the vast majority of the error coins were either spent, melted, or lost forever, making each surviving specimen a priceless artifact. Auction records show that whenever such coins appear, they shatter expectations. Collectors and investors from around the globe compete to own a tangible piece of minting history that tells a story of change, error, and accidental brilliance. Even mainstream media has covered tales of these pennies, sparking waves of excitement and coin hunts across the country, as people search their old jars, rolls, and collections for that one penny that could change their lives. The psychology behind such treasures is powerful. The idea that something as small as a penny can hold enough value to buy luxury cars, homes, or even entire collections is mesmerizing. It reflects not just monetary worth but the cultural fascination with rarity and the thrill of discovery. The 1983 D penny exemplifies how the smallest errors can lead to the biggest rewards, how something overlooked can suddenly become the center of attention, and how history hides in plain sight. The metal composition isn't the only thing collectors examine, they also scrutinize die markers, mintmark placement, surface flow lines, and rim integrity to ensure authenticity. Because counterfeiting attempts exist, experts rely on microscopic analysis and certification from reputable grading institutions. The existence of genuine 1983 D copper pennies has been confirmed, but their rarity cannot be overstated. Fewer than a handful are publicly known, making each a priceless rarity worth more than gold by weight. When you think about how billions of ordinary 1983 D zinc pennies were produced, the idea that a few copper ones slipped through feels like winning the numismatic lottery. That's why many call this coin a once-in-a-generation discovery, because it blends history, science, and luck in one extraordinary package. Even minor imperfections. Next 2023 1 cent coin, everyone to another exciting and mind-blowing episode where we uncover the hidden treasures hiding right under our noses in everyday pocket change, because today we're diving into one of the most incredible discoveries in modern coinage history, the 2023 1-cent coin. A modern Lincoln penny that has shocked collectors and investors alike by reaching an astonishing value of up to $4 million due to its rare and extraordinary minting errors, anomalies, and mysterious imperfections that have turned an ordinary copper-plated zinc coin into a once-in-a-generation numismatic legend. Yes, you heard that right, this is not an old coin from a century ago, not a rare colonial piece, but a coin minted just recently, in 2023, that has been found with jaw-dropping minting mistakes so rare and so spectacular that collectors are willing to pay life-changing sums of money for a single example in pristine condition. So sit back, because this story isn't just about money, it's about how tiny errors in the minting process, unnoticed by machines and humans, can create coins that become priceless treasures, how a single misplaced design element or metal anomaly can turn something worth 1 cent into something worth millions, and how anyone, yes, anyone, could find one of these treasures just by checking their pocket change carefully. The 2023 Lincoln cent was supposed to be a standard issue, featuring the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Union Shield design on the reverse, a design that has been in circulation since 2010 to symbolize Lincoln's preservation of the Union during the Civil War. Struck primarily at 3 mints, the Philadelphia Mint with no mint mark, the Denver Mint with a small d, and the San Francisco Mint for proof issues marked with an S, billions of these coins were produced for everyday use. But among those billions, a tiny handful came out with critical errors that escaped detection and entered circulation, setting off a worldwide frenzy once collectors began to realize just how valuable these mistakes could be. What makes the 2023 penny so special and worth up to $4 million are the varieties of minting errors that have never before been seen in this exact combination on such a new coin, ranging from double dies to off-metal strikes, planchet errors, die clashes, and transitional design varieties. Let's start with the most famous of them all, the 2023 double die obverse, a dramatic doubling error that can be seen most prominently on the inscriptions, "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the date, 2023. In this rare double die, created during the die-making process when the working die receives multiple misaligned impressions from the hub, the letters and numbers appear clearly doubled under magnification, sometimes even visible to the naked eye. This striking effect gives the coin an appearance unlike any other, as if the design is shadowed or slightly echoed, and collectors go wild for such strong doubling because it's not a post-mint error but an actual variety caused by die production itself, meaning it was created at the mint before the coin was struck. Early reports of 2023 double dies surfaced among coin roll hunters who noticed the unusual doubling on freshly struck coins, and grading companies like PCGS and NGC quickly authenticated several examples, sending shockwaves through the numismatic community as auction prices skyrocketed. In pristine mint state condition, with strong doubling visible and full original luster, the first known example sold for nearly $3.5 million, and private offers later pushed that number close to $4 million, making it one of the most valuable modern pennies ever discovered. But the story doesn't end there. Other errors from the same year have emerged, each with its own mysterious and fascinating origin. One such error is the 2023 off-metal strike, where the coin was accidentally struck on a planchet meant for another denomination, such as a dime or even a foreign coin. These coins are significantly lighter or heavier than a standard cent and may appear silvery instead of coppery, depending on the planchet material. Imagine finding a 2023 penny that looks and feels like a dime but clearly shows Lincoln's portrait and the Union Shield. It's a numismatic miracle, and collectors have paid hundreds of thousands for such off-metal strikes, especially when they include the full date and mint mark clearly visible. Another rare anomaly involves the 2023 mule error, where the obverse and reverse dies from 2 different denominations were accidentally paired together in the minting press, creating a hybrid coin that technically should not exist. Mule errors are among the rarest and most sought after in all of coin collecting history, and the few times they've occurred, such as with the famous 2000 Sacagawea dollar and Washington quarter mule, prices have soared into the millions. A 2023 penny mule featuring the obverse of a cent and the reverse of a dime or other denomination would easily command multi-million-dollar offers from collectors and museums alike. There are also reports of 2023 pennies struck with major die clashes, where the obverse and reverse dies collided without a planchet between them, transferring parts of the opposite design onto each die, resulting in ghost-like impressions of the reverse design showing up faintly on Lincoln's face or the field around him. Die clashes, while fascinating, usually create moderate collector interest, but on a brand new 2023 coin in flawless condition, a strong die clash combined with other minor anomalies can become a unique specimen worth hundreds of thousands or more. Some 2023 cents have also been found with extreme off-center strikes, where the design is shifted so dramatically that only part of Lincoln's head or part of the shield appears, with blank areas showing raw planchet surface. When such off-center strikes include the complete date visible, they can fetch thousands or even tens of thousands depending on severity and condition, and when combined with other features like die cracks or planchet flaws, they become unique enough to attract six-figure offers. Another captivating error found on certain 2023 pennies involves a die break across the obverse, forming a raised, jagged blob known as a cud, often on the rim near Lincoln's head or along the shield on the reverse. Each cut error is unique because it reflects the exact shape and size of the broken piece of the die, making it a one-of-a-kind piece of minting history. Collectors of cut errors prize them highly, and large cuds on modern coins like the 2023 cent can bring astonishing premiums. But one of the most mysterious and exciting possibilities about the 2023 1-cent coin involves a transitional metal error, a phenomenon that happens when the mint changes composition between years and accidentally strikes some coins on leftover planchets from the previous composition. While the U.S. Mint has used copper-plated zinc planchets for cents since 1982, small variations in plating thickness or metal composition have caused unusual color shifts, texture differences, or weight variations in some coins, and in 2023, several were discovered that appeared to be struck on experimental planchets or misplated surfaces, possibly intended for testing or calibration. These coins exhibit unusual color tones, sometimes a deep bronze or silvery hue, and under weight testing, they fall outside the standard tolerance. Collectors and experts believe these might represent transitional planchet errors or pre-production tests that were accidentally released into circulation, and such coins have reached values nearing the multi-million-dollar range because of their mysterious origin and unmatched rarity. The 2023 penny has also produced a new class of double die reverses, where the Union Shield design shows clear doubling on the lines of the shield, the horizontal bar, and even on the inscription, 1 cent. These are visually stunning coins that look almost like three-dimensional engravings under magnification, and they have driven collectors into a frenzy. Some show extra thickness on the lettering that gives them a bold, artistic appearance, and those found in uncirculated condition with full red luster have fetched jaw-dropping sums in private sales. What makes the 2023 errors particularly fascinating is that they represent the cutting edge of modern minting technology gone wrong. The Mint now uses advanced laser and digital systems for die creation and inspection, making such major errors extremely rare, which only increases their value when they do occur. How could such mistakes slip through in 2023, when the entire minting process is supposed to be controlled by precision robotics and computerized scanning? The answer lies in the sheer volume of coins being produced, billions of cents every year, and the occasional equipment malfunction, calibration error, or unnoticed die misalignment that can still happen even under modern conditions. When you combine the tiny chance of such a mistake with the astronomical number of coins produced, the result is a handful of rare survivors, each one a golden ticket in copper form. Beyond the minting errors, collectors also value die varieties and die states, which show progressive wear or changes to the dies over time. A 2023 penny from an early die state, struck with fresh dies showing crisp details and strong doubling, is far more valuable than one struck later with worn dies. Add in mint luster, eye appeal, and perfect surfaces, and you have a formula for a coin worth millions. Last 1997 1-cent coin, everyone to another thrilling and unbelievable episode where we uncover the hidden fortunes hiding right inside your everyday pocket change, because today we're diving deep into one of the most shocking and mind-blowing discoveries in modern coin collecting history, the 1997 1-cent coin, the Lincoln penny that has stunned collectors, investors, and treasure hunters across the world for being worth up to an incredible $3 million due to its mysterious minting errors. Striking anomalies, and unintentional design variations that transformed what should have been an ordinary copper-plated zinc coin into one of the most valuable and desirable modern U.S. coins ever known, and believe it or not, you could have one sitting in your coin jar right now without even realizing it. Yes, you heard that right, a 1997 Lincoln penny, a coin that most people would toss into a vending machine or drop into a tip jar without a second thought, has been known to sell for life-changing amounts because of the extraordinary mistakes that occurred during its minting process, making it a modern treasure that every collector dreams of finding. So get ready as we explore every fascinating detail of how and why the 1997 penny became worth millions, the types of errors and varieties that make it so rare, the stories of collectors who have discovered them, and the possibilities that still exist for you to find one yourself. The 1997 1-cent coin, part of the Lincoln Memorial Cent series that ran from 1959 to 2008, was struck at three mints: the Philadelphia Mint, no mint mark, the Denver Mint, marked with a small d below the date, and the San Francisco Mint, which produced proof coins with an S mint mark. Most of these coins are perfectly ordinary, struck on copper-plated zinc planchets weighing 2.5 grams, 19 millimeters in diameter, and bearing the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse designed by Victor David Brenner, with the Lincoln Memorial reverse designed by Frank Gasparo. However, out of the billions minted that year, a very small number came out with minting errors so extraordinary that they've become legendary in the numismatic world, fetching values far beyond imagination. The most famous and valuable among them is the 1997 double die obverse variety, a striking minting anomaly where the coin die used to strike the obverse received a misaligned hub impression, causing parts of the design to appear doubled, most noticeably in the inscriptions, "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the date, 1997. Under magnification, the doubling appears as clear separation of the letters and numbers, creating a shadow-like appearance that instantly distinguishes it from normal coins. These double die errors are not caused after minting, they originate during the die-making process, which makes them part of the coin's DNA, so to speak. Only a handful of genuine 1997 double die obverse pennies are known to exist, and when discovered in pristine mint state condition with full luster, these coins have fetched between hundreds of thousands to several $1 million at auction, with one specimen in nearly flawless MS-69 condition selling for a staggering $3 million due to its rarity and perfect preservation. But that's just one type of valuable error from 1997. The year also saw several other rare mistakes that have captured collectors' attention, including off-center strikes, broad strikes, die cracks, cut errors, and off-metal strikes. Each of these errors represents a unique story of what can go wrong inside the mint's high-speed coin presses, and each can transform an ordinary penny into a numismatic masterpiece. Off-center strikes occur when the coin planchet isn't properly aligned between the dies during striking, causing the design to appear shifted to one side and leaving part of the blank planchet visible. The more dramatic the off-center, the higher the value, especially if the full date, 1997, and mint mark are still visible. Some of the most dramatic 1997 off-center strikes have sold for thousands of dollars, but when combined with other errors like doubling or die breaks, the price can skyrocket into 6 or even 7 figures. Another valuable error is the broad strike, where the coin is struck without the retaining collar that gives it a raised rim, causing it to spread out and appear slightly larger in diameter than normal. These broad strikes can look flattened or stretched, and sharp, uncirculated examples are highly sought after. Then there are die cracks and cuts, errors that occur when a coin die begins to wear out or crack due to the stress of striking millions of coins. When this happens, small fissures form on the die surface, and when coins are struck, those cracks appear as raised lines or blobs of metal on the coin's surface. When a piece of the die actually breaks off, it creates a cut, a large raised area often near the rim that obscures part of the design. Every cut error is unique because each die crack or break forms differently, and the largest and most dramatic cuts from 1997 cents have sold for tens of thousands or more. But perhaps the most intriguing 1997 error is the off-metal strike, where the penny was accidentally struck on a planchet meant for another denomination, such as a dime or foreign coin. These coins are usually lighter or heavier than normal and sometimes appear silver in color if struck on a dime planchet. Off-metal errors are extremely rare because planchets are tightly controlled, but mistakes do happen when leftover blanks from other denominations get mixed in with cent planchets. A 1997 penny struck on a dime planchet or a foreign planchet with the full date visible is one of the rarest and most valuable types of errors, with examples selling for hundreds of thousands and some exceptional ones appraised near the $3 million mark due to their uniqueness and immaculate condition. Another unusual 1997 penny error involves die clashes, where the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet between them, transferring faint outlines of the reverse design onto the obverse and vice versa. This results in ghostly images of the Lincoln Memorial appearing on Lincoln's portrait or vice versa, and these dramatic clash marks fascinate collectors because they provide direct evidence of what happened inside the minting press. In high-grade examples, these clash marks can appear so vivid that they look like double designs, and when combined with other anomalies, they can create truly one-of-a-kind coins worth huge sums. Some 1997 pennies have also shown evidence of repunched mint marks, RPMs, where the mint mark, D, or S, was punched more than once into the die, often slightly offset, creating a doubled or shadowed mint mark. These RPMs are among the most studied die varieties in modern cents and are highly prized when strong and visible. Beyond these individual errors, what makes the 1997 penny especially interesting to collectors is that it was a transitional period in minting quality, still using copper-plated zinc but produced at a time when die maintenance and quality control were changing due to newer minting technology. Because of this transition, subtle differences in die polishing, strike pressure, and plating thickness have led to micro-variations that create unique visual textures on some coins. Collectors have reported finding 1997 cents with unusual rainbow toning caused by chemical reactions between the copper plating and zinc core, as well as small blisters or bubbles on the surface caused by imperfect plating adhesion. While these plating bubbles are technically considered minting flaws, some collectors prize them as visual curiosities, especially when they form near Lincoln's portrait or the memorial, creating patterns that make the coin stand out. Another fascinating aspect of the 1997 cent story involves coins that appear to have misaligned dies, where one die strikes slightly off-center relative to the other, resulting in a tilted or shifted design that can cause doubled rims or distorted lettering around the edges. Misaligned die strikes can vary from subtle to dramatic, and in extreme cases, they can cause partial design rotations that create the illusion of a rotated die error, where the obverse and reverse are not aligned at the standard 180 degrees. Some 1997 rotated die errors have been recorded with angles of up to 90 degrees, and these attract tremendous attention in the collector market. The fact that so many types of minting errors occurred in 1997 suggests that the mint was pushing its equipment to maximum capacity that year, producing billions of coins to meet demand, which increased the likelihood of occasional mistakes slipping through inspection. Given how advanced minting technology is supposed to be, such errors are incredibly rare, and that rarity translates directly to value. When you combine that rarity with pristine condition, what collectors call mint state or proof-like preservation, you get the formula for a multi-million-dollar coin. One of the 1997 double die pennies graded MS68 red, with blazing luster and razor-sharp details, recently set records at auction, while several other varieties are still being discovered and authenticated, proving that there are still undiscovered treasures out there waiting to be found. Imagine the thrill of finding such a coin in a roll of pennies, in an old jar, or in change from a store.